Alaska, there's a river called the Kenai, and in this river is a fish that really moves fishermen. When this fish runs, your only choice is to follow, even if it means going backwards. Few fish can evoke as much excitement. Even though it may weigh over 90 pounds, it can still put on quite a show. To get an idea of the size of this fish, you need only to compare it to the fisherman in the boat. You can imagine the power it must take to launch such a body into the air and do it with such flair. Let's get one of these big guys in the boat so we can take a good look at what the Kenai River has to offer the fishermen. You're looking at a beautiful king salmon, taken from the home of the world record, a giant 97-pounder. When a king is hooked, certain preparations must be made, and post haste. All lines must come in, so the fish won't get tangled in them. The net is readied. A poised net alerts other boats that a fish is on. The boat must be cleared of obstacles. Poles are moved out of the way. Extraneous items are redistributed, because when the fish moves, you need room to move. Small pets have been known to get trampled in the heat of excitement generated by the fight with this great fish. An experienced fisherman is easy to spot. They can move around the boat without looking. The preferred rod for kings is long and flexible. The length is important for reaching around obstacles. The flexibility is necessary to handle the strain when this mighty fish goes down.
Okay, now go down real slow. Go down.
Some fishermen are really blessed with good fortune. They not only hook into one of these exciting fish,
it's okay, man. It's all right. Keep that out like this. Keep it out like this.
they get to fight them with a handicap.
Keep reeling, man. It's all right. Keep your rod out like this. See, I got this much rod.
This is when having a good river guide is a definite asset. One happy, lucky fisherman. There are several methods employed when fighting this fish. Since it is so powerful, it's best to be cautious, letting it go where it wants while applying pressure, so as to tire it out gradually. One method is to use the boat as a base and move around in it. This may require a bit of agility and a lot of movement on the part of the fisherman. You can imagine the moves the fish must be making from watching the fisherman. Kings seem to have a real fear of the net and go crazy if it even comes near them. Another method using the boat as a base goes like this. The fisherman plants himself and just plain slugs it out with a fish. It may be effective, but it does have its drawbacks. The third method finds the fisherman stationary and the boat moving. Here the idea is to keep the fish and fisherman on the same side of the boat. The boat operator must obviously pay close attention to the situation as it changes. Kings do their best to make things difficult for the fishermen. One of their favorite tricks when hooked is to head straight for another boat's lines. This increases the odds in the fish's favor, and of course adds stress to the fisherman's already stressful situation. If the fisherman in the other boat can't cut his line because he doesn't have any spare line, he must patiently wait for the drama to end before he can resume his fishing. If things go well, the fish doesn't get the lines all tangled up and comes to the net. Even though a fish may have every possible chance of escaping, some simply seem destined to be caught. When a king is being played, there is usually plenty of room. Another situation brought about by a hooked fish, however, involves another boat with a hooked fish. As soon as these fish discover they have a hooked comrade in the area, they head for each other as if to confer on possible solutions to their predicament. This, of course, tends to elevate the blood pressure levels on both boats. Skillful maneuvering by the boat operators, along with a lot of luck, can bring about the desired results. The king will do whatever it can to make your fishing experience memorable. If no other boats are around, these fish can still come up with some tricks. They love to dive under the boat, hoping, I'm sure, to cut the line or get it tangled in the motor. This requires quick action on the part of the fisherman or his guide. If it isn't convenient, or if there isn't time to move the rod around, the fisherman can sometimes scare the fish away when it heads under the boat. This action can get a reaction out of more than just the fish, however. Not all kings on the line are landed, of course. In fact, some appear to be simply holding on. They have their individual styles of getting off. Some seem to let the hook gently go, as if they're just playing with the fisherman and finally tire of the game. Others keep the pressure on the fisherman and catch them somewhat off guard. And when they get up against a real pro, they play them to the limit. Ever wonder what a fish chuckle might sound like? Kings that are actually hooked have their various ways of getting free. Some just use brute power and thrash the hook loose. Others have more flair and add a little showmanship. Some can be just plain insulting to the fishermen and simply spit the hook up in their face. Such a performance as this rates a 10 from the other fish. Occasionally, a king will go through all of its tricks and still not be rid of the hook, and things are looking real grim for him. But then the fisherman is distracted for a second, and the fish makes his move. Bye-bye. Some kings are mean, and when they team up against a tough fisherman, the only possible escape is equipment failure. Suppose everything has gone the fisherman's way. This mighty fish has finally been subdued. The final moment of truth has arrived, the netting. Is the king finished? Is he done fighting? Not hardly. In fact, the presence of the net flat freaks him out. They either see it, or hear it, or smell it, or all three. At any rate, they definitely react to it. Sometimes they challenge the fishermen and jump up at them. Oftentimes they'll tease the fishermen into trying to net them and then explode into a spectacular show-off performance. Surprising or scaring the fishermen wins points, but getting them wet to boot gets them a top score. The point at which the net enters the water presents new opportunities for the king to find his freedom. The sudden surge from the net scare may be enough to overcome a weakened line. Or to loosen a hook which had been solid until this moment. Okay. One of the most devious tricks is to transfer the hook from its mouth to the net. So the fisherman ends up netting his hook rather than the fish. This is the most difficult of all escapes for the netter to explain. Proper netting technique dictates bringing the net to the side of the boat once the king is in it, thereby closing the net and pinning the fish against the boat. Even though proper technique has been followed, one must not relax, however, because the fish won't give up. Definitely the winner in the Houdini Escape division. The really big kings get that way because they're smart. This one finally got tired of the game after almost an hour of pulling and tugging. It let the fishermen think that it was tired, dead tired. It just laid there and let them pull it into the net. This gave them the impression that the fish was theirs. So they got a little overconfident and overanxious, and reached out for the fish. This was all the fish needed. He hit the net and did a 180, leaving the hook in the net, of course, and went on his way. Comparing the fish's size to the men in the boat, one can only imagine how much this giant must have weighed. Did a new world record just escape? Only the fish knows. Getting the king into the net is unquestionably an exciting moment. Keeping him there can be quite frustrating, however. It can also be a rather baffling experience. Fishermen at times feel a need to make sure there's a bottom to their net. The real trick to netting is to play the king until it's so tired it's lying on its side right on the surface. Then simply slip the net under him. Oops, one must keep in mind how much enjoyment these fish get from surprising the heck out of fishermen. Let's try it again. The fish is obviously tired. Wait for the right moment and slip the net under him. And don't forget to brace yourself, because he's going to try like heck to swim away. Sometimes it's best to abort the attempt and regroup for another try. One wouldn't think that getting a fish in the net would be considered a complicated act, but occasionally a fish will make it seem that way. Certain high-risk, thrill-seeking kings hook themselves in parts other than on the head. This way they can fight harder, giving the fishermen a bigger thrill.
That's an eagle rock probably all the way down here. We just saw it a little while ago. I thought I had one.
It also gives the fishermen greater disappointment, since they have to release the fish. This type of hooking is known as snagging, and even though it's the fish's fault, he must be released. The highest scores are awarded to kings that manage a dorsal fin hookup. Since they are the least encumbered, they give the hardest fight, and therefore the greatest disappointment when they must be released. Some kings get overzealous in their pursuit of glory and become careless. A great jump at the wrong time might net them a big zero, as in the shape of the net opening. When proper equipment is used, along with proper technique, the netter will come out the winner. A big, deep net, patience, poise, and maybe some luck, and the trophy is secured. When the fisherman sees that his net is too small for his fish, some helpful hints are gladly accepted.
When you get him in the net, don't try to lift the net up. Pull it into the boat.
Okay.
Because you'll just bend that net down.
Head first or tail?
Head. Definitely head. Don't reach out for it either.
Bring it up to the boat and then
Make
pull
sure
it
the
in.
net goes straight down.
Yeah, make sure that's straight down.
And it just swims in.
They've been fighting this fish for over 40 minutes. The fish seems ready for the net. The big question is, are the fishermen?
Get down below, John. Can you get down below?
Cut the power just as you scoop him, so you'll drift.
Drift him in?
Yeah, you want the boat going the same way the fish is.
All right.
It looks like the net will hold a little more than half the fish, so it could go either way, depending on whose side Lady Luck is on. The net is poised. The tired fish is eased towards it. And bingo!
Wrap it up against the boat. There you go.
All right.
Hang on to the edge.
Thank you.
Hang on to that rim. Wow.
Whoa. All right. Can I get a copy of that?
You bet.
Where can I get your name and we'll give you all the stuff.
Another
Okay.
satisfied Visual Ventures customer.
Oh!
One prize trophy for one happy fisherman. Then there are those fishermen who either grossly underestimate the size of the prize they seek, or else are truly sportsmen out to give the king every possible advantage. They've played the fish well, and it's ready for the net. As the king is scooped up, it hits bottom. The weight bends the net 90 degrees to the handle. It then simply falls back into the river, leaving the hook behind. What can one say? Obviously not much. There are some fishermen who get such a kick out of the netting action, they want to go through the experience again.
See that?
Once the king is in the net and seems secured, it still must be dealt with. Remembering how stubborn this fish is about not giving up, you can expect it to resist right up until the end.
Congratulations, sir!
In spite of his valiant efforts, most kings netted do end up in the boat. The final ritual of king salmon fishing is holding the fish high for all to see. You want to be sure the king is calm before you attempt this, however. So whether it be in self-defense or just to make the fish manageable, it must be quieted. The terms for this quieting of a king are whacking or bonking. The techniques vary, from a slow, methodical tapping to a rapid rapping. Bonkers come in a wide variety of forms. The fancy store-bought type, complete with a wrist strap. The short club type, either bought or handmade. The two-handed long shaft. Short metal rod. Cut-off bat. Watch the backswing. Some people find riverbank driftwood and smack the damn fish right in the teeth. If nothing is brought along, you may end up ruining your thermos of coffee. The ultimate end to a long fight, speaking from a sportsman's as well as from the fish's point of view, is to release the king after it's been brought to the boat. Some fishermen just enjoy the catching and don't want to kill the fish. Others are out for Mr. Big, so smaller fish are released, allowing fishing to continue. Only 2 Kenai River kings may be kept per season. Releasing a fish can actually add to the already exciting action. When fishing for a record, using light line, the fish must be played a long time before it can be brought to the boat. This means the fish may have to be revived before it can be released.
Walk her in the water. Get her head under. Get her head under. Gotta revive it. Coming back to it takes a little bit to get come back to. World record 64 pounds. I think, no, 68 pounds.
What, 12 pounds?
12-pound test. This fish is over 50. It's real close to 60, but not quite. All right, you made it.
If a lively fish is to be released, netting it first makes getting the hook out easier. Getting the fish out of the net can become a problem. Now let's look at a few of the more interesting catches from the past season. This family from the East Coast might have gotten into a little more than they had expected when they decided to fish the Kenai. The son hooked the fish, but everybody soon got in on the action. This fish was a goer, so the guide had a big job on his hands keeping up with it. had his hands full of rod and reel, and the mom had her hands full of the boy. Dad was there to add encouragement and to get as much enjoyment out of the boy's experience as possible. Checking to see if the reel is working right and the drag is set correctly is very important when so much is at stake. This fish happened to strike in a rather congested part of the river, where boats drift down one side and run back up the other. This makes the water rather bumpy in this area, so the dad adds his arms to the action. The fish is a good fighter, but so is the boy. He's game to go all the way with this monster he's hooked. The king is slowing down and coming to the surface, so the end must be near. But remember who we're dealing with here. Old Never Say Quit. He explodes into a jump. And some more surface action, just to let them know he's not finished. The fisher boy hangs on though, and so does the mom. Finally, the fish presents itself, and the fight is over. But certainly not the excitement. Wonder what he'll tell his friends back home when they ask him what he did during the summer. Some fishermen have a guide to help them. This one has his dog. Dog keeps track of things for the boy. He watches for boats. Checks the boat for stuff that might get in the way. Keeps a line on the fish's location. Checks the reel and drag setting, and offers encouragement. He lets the net man know when it's time, and then supervises the netting. No, not yet. Okay, now, don't reach. Wait for it to come in. Don't reach. Oh, geez. Get him in the net. Now, quick. Underneath him, underneath him. right, good job, guys. But you just about gave me heart failure. Yeah, nice fish. Way to go, kid. Okay, let's get him in here and take a look.
You want to turn him loose?
Good job. Congratulations.
Thanks. You want to turn him loose?
Bonk him good. I don't want no slimy fish bouncing around in my boat.
Watch go. Yeah, you are.
All right, guys, great fish. Way to follow directions. Now let's get some pictures of us.
Take your glove off. Get up front, boy.
What? Out of the way? Hey, you wouldn't even have landed it if I hadn't told you how.
This boy ain't too excited here.
No?
Look at the guy.
All right.
Smile.
They know it's true, but they just won't admit it. Our next fisherman is one of the most unique and deserving we encountered during the 1988 season. He had lived a long time waiting for this opportunity to catch a king salmon. His longevity earned him the right to the bow seat, which means he's entitled to sit during the entire performance. It'll be the boat operator's responsibility to see that the fisherman is kept in good position to do battle with the fish. The bow seat swivels, so the rod can be kept pointed towards the fish with minimal movement. The fish headed for shallow water, hoping to ground the boat, or at least put some dents in the prop. But alert reactions by the bow seat occupant and skillful maneuvering by the guide averts contact with the bottom. The big king tries the under-the-boat trick, but once again his attempt to escape is thwarted. The netter practices the patience necessary to avoid a netting disaster. And the fish is finally in the bag. Even though this is the fisherman's first king ever, he is able to maintain his cool, which may be just what has allowed him to live such a long, healthy life.
It's a nice fish.
Not bad for a guy 90, huh?
92 years old, pretty quick. 92 is awful. That's well, boys here brought me up here for a fishing trip for my...
Wow, you're on camera.
Nice.
This is his 92nd birthday present. special.
We should all hope to be so blessed as we live our lives out. The most interesting boat we observed was one which had levers for both shifting and steering. The boat operator, fisherman, really did have his hands full. He not only needed two hands to run the boat, but he had a very active fish on the end of his line, which needed two hands to handle also. The fish had already jumped about 10 times before we started videotaping and had been running the fishermen around the river for quite a while. A truly game fish. A deft dip with the net, and the long, exciting fight was finished.
He jumped about 15 times. That's when I first caught him up there. I seen him slashing. Never jumped. At least 15 times.
I got 4 of them on
You
film.
got 4 of them. That's
Really good.
Oh, that's a beautiful fish. Can we get you to hold him up? Can we get you to hold him up? I don't think I can hold him up.
Can we, or lift the net up so we
Just
can
lift the net. There you go. That's all.
A well-deserved prize. King fishing on the Kenai River is conducive to family outings, which often become true family affairs. The fish will usually be hooked by a youngster, one of Murphy's laws. With the king weighing nearly as much as the youngster, assistance is advisable. A good move by the fish may necessitate a temporary takeover by the mom. things are under control and some new energies are needed, little brother steps in and gives the mom a rest. The king makes a move towards another boat, which is drifting by with its lines out, so intervention is again necessary. Some frantic action and some fisherman's luck sees the family through the problem. With encouragement from the kids, Mom hangs on to the fish. It's hard to imagine a family outing that could have any more excitement than this. The kids need to really pay attention so they don't become a victim of the action. Family fishing on the Kenai can be a very interesting study in family dynamics. A king this big provides not only a lot of fun, but a whole bunch of fantastic eating. Another exciting catch took place when this youngster hooked into a very active fish. With Mom on the net, Dad at the wheel, and the fish in the air, everyone was busily involved. A favorite trick of an active king is to start a run, get the boat following, and then quickly turn back, forcing the operator to slam the motor in reverse. Backing into the current is sometimes necessary, but could lead to some real problems if not properly monitored. The under the boat and tangle in the prop trick is attempted by the fish, which triggers immediate full participation among the boat's occupants. Even though all the action is centered around the boat's stern, the fish is way out in front of the boat by now. The end seems to be near, so Dad takes the net and prepares for the landing. The fish seems to have other ideas, however, and shows it still has some fight left. There are snags along shore that a stream-wise king will head for. This means that strong pressure needs to be put on the fish to hold it off. This momentary setback in the fish's fight gives the netter an opportunity, but the king is able to recover and escape the net. The mom is keeping an eye on the snags leaning out over the river. And finally convinces the operator that avoidance action might be advisable. The fish is cooperative and saves any outrageous antics until everyone is back in position. Finally, with a little anxious help from the netman, the fish is netted. The tradition of holding the king up by the fishermen is attempted. and becomes a cooperative effort. He has a right to be proud. Drift boats have little in common with power boats, but they can be manipulated by kings in exactly the same ways. At least they don't have a motor hanging in the water to worry about. The big disadvantage of drift boats is the need to expend a great deal of energy to follow a fish upriver. The king has managed to maneuver the fishermen into some rather swift water. To get out of the current and into some quieter water will take some real effort. An attempt to wrap the line in a log meets with failure. This battle has been going on for a long time, but the fish just won't tire out and give up. So far, in its attempt to escape, it has taken the boat into swift water and an area of floating debris. It has now moved into an area of high boat traffic, hoping to get the line cut. This is obviously a big, strong fish, since it hasn't even been brought to the surface. Once out of the fast current, the drift boat's maneuverability becomes obvious. The fish is finally brought near the surface, and its size becomes apparent. It also became apparent that the fish's approach to the surface was merely the result of the river getting shallow. Another advantage of the drift boat, No worry about shallow water. Once in deep water again, the king goes down. At last, the fish is brought up and is kept near the surface. This giant appears to have finally tired and is about to receive a free boat ride. But apparently he had other plans.
You know that?
You bet, we got it all. Recorded for posterity. These guys have been playing this fish for over 40 minutes and it seemed to be tiring. The problem was, they were too. This fish had been pulling them around and back and forth so much, the fisherman was getting tired of all the moving around. So he developed a new technique. This big heavy fish was obviously going to present a real challenge to the boys. The constant pressure it was putting on the fishermen was beginning to show on the fishermen. It looks as though the fish wasn't going to surface unless it came up by itself, which it did, much to their surprise, but only for a look-see apparently. Then down again and back to the tug-of-war. Another show, and excitement on the boat escalates, but it's another look-see only. The fish seems to have the boys figured out and decides to spice up their day by letting them think they might be able to net it. But of course it was just a teaser. This excitement did give the boys a surge, however, and they launch into the battle with new vigor. After some time has passed, the king decides to give them another shot with a net. This really jacks everyone up, but the fisherman, he wants to know whose side his buddies are on. Time passes, and the fish still seems to have a strong reserve. It even shows off for the boys. This really gets them going. They can smell victory in the air. Non-slip lotion is applied to the hands in preparation for the ensuing action. Anticipation is running at an all-time high. This is a great time for the fish to show them what they're up against. A fish this size can hang on the bottom without much effort. But the relentless pressure by the fisherman eventually allows him to bring the big king up to the net. After such a long battle with such a great fish, the boys find it hard to believe it's really over.
Way to go!
I'm gonna get out.
You're not going to keep that one, are you?
No. I was kind of thinking about throwing him back. See?
That'd be a nice one to release.
That's what I'm thinking about. He did again, I sure was.
You're not tired, are you?
My wrist is, but you get arthritis in my... Ready? Yeah. Ready? That's how he's wasting stuff. 100 pounds.
You got to take the hook out and hold him up. If you can't hold him up, you have to give him to us.
Look, man's going to come over and get him. He's hooked. Have a couple guys to do all the work?
You bet.
The decision is made as to whether or not the mighty king has been sufficiently quieted. The excitement of the catch makes the prize seem light. Congratulations, guys. We hope 1989 will bring even bigger and better excitement to the Kenai River. Hope to see you there.